welcome to Don't Blame Me. This is an advice podcast where we answer questions all about sex, relationships, dating, friends, family, mental health, and every little thing in between. We are not professionals at all. We're professionally boss bitches.
Ooh, love that.
Or just professional bitches in my case.
Oh, 100% in my case as well.
We're speaking purely from our own experiences. We are, the best friends who tell you how it is. Our advice is not sugar-coated. Sometimes it might be a little harsh, but it all comes from a good place. We're doing it out of love and to, hopefully get you guys to not make decisions that we would have liked to avoid in our earlier or current years. I'm Meghan Rienks, and I am joined by my co-host, the fantastic, the beautiful, the wonderful, amazing Melisa Monts.
Hello. What up?
Hi.
How's your week been?
My week?
Mm-hmm.
It's been
Sunday, so you've only had 11 hours at this point.
Oh, see, I'm not one of those people. My week starts on Monday. My week starts on Monday. I can't with the Sunday. It's just too weird. My week has been a whirlwind. Was this the week that I got into it with the racists online on the boomers?
Yes.
Wow. This has been
For
wild.
you, it was this week. For me, it was last week.
Okay, yes, because we're on different time zones.
We're on different planes.
Oh, we should include that in the show notes. If anyone can sign the change.org petition for my old high school. We're trying to change the name. Everything was going smoothly. Like the name was being changed. And then a group of racist old boomers, if you'd like to be mad that I use that term, stay mad. They decided to oppose it and, sue. So
Sue?
They're suing the school district because the school district, they found some loophole in which for some fucking reason, I'm like, can someone rewrite this? That for some fucking reason, in order for my old high school, public school, to change its name, it needs to get community input or alumni input. It has to be and that's the thing that doesn't make any sense. Cause I'm like, can you actually go to court for over input? What does input mean? Because they did ask for suggestions on the name, but the whole thing has been absolutely wild. I infiltrated a Facebook group that was keep the name. And I was very polite in there. So polite that even though once I got kicked out because I was just bringing up racial points and how we should, potentially look at this from not this, I graduated high school in the 70s and it was it was so wonderful. And this was
that means that they've done nothing in their lives since the 70s?
No. Oh, no, nothing. Because they have straight up, most of them, I was talking to a couple of friends from high school about this. I was like, most of them also went to college. We have a College of Marin. They went to College of Marin and then landed somewhere around there. I'm like, oh, so you actually have never left. But I have also heard that a lot of these people were also awful in high school. They were just the people that you would expect. But one argument that someone made about how there is not any racism at the school, and they said there was no racism when they were there because there were no black students.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
And I was like, black people existed though, right? So that that in itself is racist, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was mind blowing. So got into it with them. If you would like to see, I have a highlight on my Instagram. It's called Commie Slut, because that was what I was referred to. And within 2 sentences, I was referred to. They were saying, stupid commie slut infiltrating our group. She's not a real actress. In my professional opinion, she's just she's still in the phase where she's sucking producers. She's sucking dicks and fucking producers. And Cammie texted me after that. And she goes, wait, so are we supposed to stop that? When does that phase end for us? And I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. But it's a whirlwind, but they also called me polite, which, so that's been the whole thing. Did the whole Zoom with the school district. It was just A lot. If you would like to call to leave us a voicemail to be on an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Please make sure you are over 18 years old before you call, or you have your parents' permission. And we really would love, and actually not even love, we require you to keep your voicemail under 3 minutes long. In our ideal world, you are all Virgos who write down what you want to say and then read it out loud on the voicemail. I promise you, it will make it so much more cohesive and so much more clear. And if you are a listener, which you're listening right now, you can always tell, you can always tell who's reading it, and it's concise. You realize like what's important, what's not important. And it just, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Okay, guys. So before we get into the first call, we have an update, and she's here right now.
And so this is from season 6, episode 10. And this one we had a lot of questions about it. So caller, please take it away.
So it basically was just my fiance's stepmom is insane. And she basically is like threatened or like said that I'm hacking all her things and like reading her text messages and just making it miserable for me. And then also tried to kill her husband who had cancer and was dying. So I don't know if his dad is kind of in denial about all this and like has cancer and is kind of just like, I just want to die without having to worry about all this, or what exactly his thought process is. Because for the poisoning thing, she was like gonna slowly do it with stuff, like because he had to take so many meds and all this stuff. So that she was, I don't know exactly how it all went down because I was kind of learning it secondhand. But I do know that she told her, like, one of her best friends that she was poisoning him, and then her husband's in law enforcement. So that's kind of how that went.
But like, why is she still around?
But so I guess there wasn't enough evidence when she actually got in trouble, and she tried to say she didn't say it. And then his dad said, like just blew it completely off the table. Like my fiance went to him and talked to him, and actually was the one that told him, first of all, because the best friend was like, you need to tell her dad or your dad. So he went and talked to him, and he was like, I just don't think that's true. But then he was like, well, I have been dumping out like everything she's given me to eat and been making new stuff.
So he was suspicious.
Yeah. So he was like, well, she's trying to kill you. So, and he was like, well, I'll just talk to her about it. Like it was just a normal sit down that they were just going to get to have.
Wait, so question, is she in the will?
So they've had like meetings about, I know that he owns like properties and businesses that she's not on at all.
Okay.
So I don't know about like their house and stuff like that, because I know that she like won a huge lawsuit. But anyways, so she kind of is like pays everything and does everything. So I think that's another reason he's kind of just like go with the flow and doesn't really want to like mess that up, because they do still have 2 kids in the home. So yeah, like so I think that's on that.
So she has a lot of money, so she's not after him for his money,
right?
But she might be after killing him, so she doesn't have to like pay for any of his, like his stuff, because that is expensive. Because because
America, going through radiation and everything like that right now. So they have kids together, like like how old are they? So
young.
His dad has 3 boys, like that are full brothers with my fiance, and then 2 boys together that are 14 and 16.
That also checks out then too, like to not like to kind of like brush it under the rug, which I mean is not, as a child of parents who are very much like brush it under the rug. It's not the right choice to do, but like a lot of the times parents think like protecting your kid from that they can protect their kids from like certain people or certain things if they just don't tell them, which definitely like sounds like what is going on. So do you and your fiance, like, do you guys still like see her, or do like when you see his dad, like do you keep it pretty separate, or like what's it like seeing her now?
Yeah, so basically what happened with the whole, because she said that I was hacking her phone and that kind of thing, and was like reading her text messages and sending them to his mom and stepdad. I don't know why, but I would have to, like, there's no correlation there. But so basically we just talked to his dad about it and on the phone, and then one day he had or like a week he was off work, so we went up there and she was just like, I just really need to talk to you guys. I have to talk. Like, as soon as we walked in the door, we hadn't even seen anybody, but she was just like, I just have to talk to you. I have to talk to you guys. And she was like, this is just all getting miscommunicated. Like, I never think bad about you or would do anything with like would never accuse you of anything. But me and my fiance had already talked. Like, I was just going to be like, okay, you know, like, that's fine. So I just went in and was like, that's okay. Like, I understand. And it was long and drawn out because she can make the longest conversations ever. It was probably like an hour. And then after that, we just went and hung out with his dad and kind of like, they don't even like really, it's a really big house. So they don't sleep together, spend time together, or anything. It's kind of like they have their own spots of the house that they hang out in. So we just hung out with his dad after that and didn't really talk about, I mean, he kind of talked about it and was just like, I'm sorry this happened. And we were like, that's okay. And after that, we haven't talked about it since. So, and like the stepmom, actually, funny enough, me and my fiance met like totally separate, didn't even know that we had any connection of anybody. But the stepmom actually went to high school with my dad in the same town. So then after he realized who that was, he was just like, be careful. Like, I don't want to get into it too much. I haven't seen her since high school, but you just need to be careful. And I was like, okay, Dad. Like, so whatever.
She's been messy her whole life.
Yeah.
Wow. That makes me want to like look and see where all the messy people from my high school are now. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you like trying to poison people? Like, where are you at? Wow. That's wild. Absolutely wild. Are you kind of more resigned from it now? Like that conversation? Like, do you kind of just feel like, fuck it? Who cares what she says? That's good.
I really am, because like, this is the first like big thing we've had, but there's always just been little stuff that's just came up and I've just been like, whatever, because there's honestly like, and from the stories he's told me of like his whole life, because they got married when he was like 5. So the stories of his whole life, it's been like that too. So it's like, I don't want to come in here and try to, you know, like stand my ground and just make it worse, when I can just blow it off and be like, that doesn't even matter.
Are you nervous, not to like, you know, put those fears in your head, but like, do you think that like she's going to be fucking eventually when you guys get married? Like, do you think she's going to like be fucking wild or like do something weird? Or is she kind of more of like a behind the scenes string puller, not so much like a causing a scene?
She is definitely like behind the scenes. Like, she is just talking about this person to this person and then to that person to the other person. Like, every single problem that has happened has pretty much been because she's talked crap on both of the same people to each other.
Fucking rookie mistake.
Yeah,
like, but she likes to be messy. I don't think it's rookie because she's been doing this her whole life. Like, she knows what she's doing, but she just likes to pit people against each other.
As soon as like there's calm in the family or anything's calm, like it lasts for like maybe a month and then it's right back to.
Do you know what her sign is?
I do not.
Because that sounds fiery as fuck to me.
Yeah.
Minus the like she's not, if not being like super, not confrontational, but like doing the behind the, she needs to be on a reality show, like, or a producer, like be on The Bachelor.
The reason she said that she cheated and had the boyfriend and tried to poison her husband was because she was on, I don't remember what antidepressant, but that's what she said is the reason why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
So like she admitted to doing it, but it was because of medication.
Yeah.
Sure, Jan.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally the definition of sure, Jan. Good God. And also, if she wants to like claim psychosis, like, man, it's going to be a lot more than like a slow premeditated plan. Like, I watch Criminal Minds. Come on. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for giving us this update. That was like everything I ever wanted and more. Please keep us updated if she tries to poison again at any point. And I am just literally obsessed.
Me too.
Yeah, I will definitely keep you updated because there's definitely going to be more at some point.
Of course
I can't wait. I cannot wait. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to get into the rest of our episode, guys.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I am 23. I am a Cancer. Gross, I know. My boyfriend is a Sagittarius. We're in a pretty new relationship. We've only been together for 4 months. So everything's been pretty good so far. But there is one issue that I have. So I'll give you some background. He works really long shifts, like 11, 12 hours. So usually when we hang out, it's him getting off of work at 11, midnight, coming over, we watch a movie or something and go to sleep, which I understand because of his work schedule. He does get 2 days off during the week. And so my issue is that in the 4 months we've been dating, we've probably hung out during the day, like when the sun is out, like maybe 4 times. We've probably gone on like 2 quote unquote dates. And it didn't really bother me at first, but I've kind of been thinking about it. And on his days off, I try to make plans with him, but he's usually got something else going on. And it usually involves him hanging out with another girl. He has a lot of friends that are girls, and that's something that I knew from the beginning, and it didn't really bother me because I trust him. Like, for example, the other night he went and smoked with this girl, and they kind of just sat outside and like watched the sunset for like 4 hours. And it kind of just honestly made me like jealous that he's making those types of plans with other girls. But when I try to make plans like that with him, he's always busy. And it's like every time he has a day off, he's doing something like that. Another example, he went and got like coffee and sat in a park with a girl for like an entire afternoon. And I've brought it up to him, and he always says that he's going to make more effort to hang out with me during the day, but he never really does. And I don't know how else to bring it up to him or what else to say, or if I'm just being crazy. So any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. I love you guys. Bye.
I was doing some calculator math. So he's got 2 weeks off. This is really simple math, so nobody yell at me if you're using a calculator. So he's got 2 days off a month and, 4 weeks in a year. So, 4 weeks in a year, 4 weeks in a month.
I was like, what year we're on different days of the week, so
like,
I don't know what your year is.
Okay, so that's, 8 days a month, times 4, another 4 months. That's 32 minus 4 of the times you've hung out with him. So that's 28 other times. I think, I would feel some type of way about this, but I also would feel conflicted because 4 months is pretty early on. I don't know if you guys have like established that. I don't know, because like the first couple of times, like, did you hang out 4 times in 1 month? And
but
like,
she's also saying every night he comes over and hangs out with her after work.
Yeah. I think this is a quality time, like a difference in like opinion of what quality time is issue. But I am curious if like it kind of felt like it set the precedent that you guys were like the 2 days off a week was at the very beginning before you were like officially boyfriend and like before all of this happened and you guys were like, that early stages of dating. And so like he's not spending, you know what I mean? Like it was like before you guys were hanging out during the days before he was spending the night. But now that you guys are dating, he's now instead just coming over after work and spending the night. I would like to know, it would be helpful to know the split of that. Like if, or do you know what I mean? Cause like hanging out during the day.
I'm like, do you expect him to spend every hour with you that he's not working? Because he is with you every night. So like if you're gonna like you can't just be the only person that he's friends with. So
No. Yeah.
So it's like if you're gonna hang out during the day, that means like he should get a night to go somewhere else with somebody else. Well, not really go. It seems like he's doing outdoor hangs.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I mean, I understand because like definitely there's been like times with like Monts and I dating where and I wonder if it's similar for you like this, that like it's just, again, just a quality time difference. So like for me, I'm like, if we're sitting at home, we live together. So it is a little bit different. It's not like he's coming over here to hang out with me, but I was like, we're both just here. And then like when you hang out with your friends and you do stuff, and this is again, pre-COVID, like there are more plans that go into it. Like, and it's just something more like, as opposed to like him and I just sitting on the couch doing really nothing. It was like, oh, him and his friends would like plan to go do something like this. And I was like, I just want to like, let's just do that with us every so often, because that to me is more quality time. Or even like planning a date at home that we're like not going to be on our phones. And like, I'm guilty of being on my phone all the fucking time. But in a way that it feels more like a date.
Text messages?
No, never. I'm playing my what's it called? I have a jigsaw puzzle game, and then I'm on TikTok, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Nothing in between. No, Instagram. Never responding to text.
Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on Instagram too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I would have a conversation with like him about that. But I also think it's a little different because you guys don't live together. Like, I get if you would like maybe it's like once a month you guys have your hangout. You know what I mean? Like you have like a day sort of thing and you do that, or like a group thing where you all like hang out with like
outside.
No, out fucking side. You do like a picnic.
Yeah,
like a socially distant.
He's going to like the park and having coffee, or like sitting outside and smoking. I'm hoping he's not sharing what he's smoking.
Oh God, that scared me. I hope not. But that would be like a way that you guys can both do it, because you're right. Like it also could just be a difference in like, you might be someone who, when you date someone, you hang out all the time and you want to hang out all the time. And like, there are people like that. They're like, everybody has a match in that sort of way. But he might just not, be that. And like, he wants to have his friends and be able to like talk to them and like hang out with them as well. But I would also reflect on, would you feel differently if they weren't girls? Mm-hmm. Like, is it like because like you can feel jealous of any, do you know what I mean? Like you can feel jealous of anyone in any situation. Like if your boyfriend's hanging out with whoever it is, but like, is it specifically girls that made you feel like, oh, I should be like, this is more of like a jealousy thing versus, or it's not even a jealousy. This is more of like a worry thing versus like, I'm jealous that I'm not spending time with him during the day and doing that stuff. But also like, what does he say when you try and plan it and he already has plans? Like, how far in advance are you asking? And like, are you telling him like, hey, I would really love to spend some time with you, like on a date during the day? Like, what does he say to that? Because if he's like, I'd rather not, then I'd be like, okay.
Well, I'd rather not be in this relationship. Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
Like his response to this, I think, is really important, because it could go one of two ways. It could be what we're saying of, it's just, it's a healthy balance of everything. Or it's like, yeah, he doesn't fucking want to hang out, and that's a problem.
Hi, Megan, Melissa, and anybody else who's listening. I am calling hoping to get an honest opinion on whether I am being unreasonable with my boyfriend. We're both 27. We've been together for 5 years. And we've been long distance for 4.5 of those years because his job requires him to be out of state. He needs experience that he can only get in certain places. And I can't follow him or move with him. I have a steady job where we live and family to take care of here. So me moving around with him has not been an option. So we've just made it work long distance. lately, because of the coronavirus, things have been kind of up in the air. And he had promised me at the beginning of this past year, so at the beginning of 2020, that he would for sure be home permanently by December/January of 2021. But then the virus happened and he didn't get the experience that he needed, couldn't get the experience that he needed. So now he's considering going back from January to May of 2021. I don't know if I'm being unreasonable by asking him not to do that. I know that, he made the promise, not knowing obviously what would happen with coronavirus, but I feel like I've put in my time, being supportive of him needing this experience. And there's also no guarantee with the virus that he'll be able to get it then anyway. So I just don't know if I'm being unreasonable. He's really confident that he's going to get the experience and the money that he needs to start our life together. We talk about that all the time. We talk about how much fun we would have being married and raising kids. And we agree on all of those fundamentals. We want the same things, but my timeline just looks a little bit different than his. And I'm naturally an impatient person to begin with. So ultimately, I just want to hear somebody else's thoughts and feelings. It has been a long road, and I would hate to give up on a good guy. But I also would hate to be waiting around forever. But also bonus points, Megan, if you can guess my astrological sign. And I promise I will call back and tell you if you were right.
Challenge?
I was already trying.
Are you going to accept her challenge?
I'm going to. I was already trying to guess. A part of me wants to say Aries, but there's also a part that kind of wants to say Leo, but I'm leaning towards fire sign. I'm very much leaning towards that. You sound pretty decisive, so I'm not going to go with, and I'm going based on stereotypes. I'm not going to go, to the Taurus, because Tauruses tend to be a little more indecisive. But, it sounds like you need attention, which is valid. So I'm going to hold off on, remind me at the end, and I will make my final guess. But right now I'm leaning towards, a fire sign. So either, maybe a Sag, but Sages tend to be a little bit more unpredictable and a little wild. So I'll come back to it. This might be like a surprise that I'm saying this, but I kind of think like you've been long distance for 4.5 years. What's 4 more months?
Yeah. But also, you can't hold people to things that they said pre-COVID. And in addition to that, come January, I don't think that we're going to be any closer to not to not being quarantined just because of the way that the country's going. So I still think this is going to get pushed again.
Yeah,
I don't think
also,
he's going to be able to get the whatever experience he needs for whatever job this is.
But I also wonder if that is going to, I mean, I guess depending on what it is, like what specifically
it's hard
the job.
to say what we can really think because we don't know what the job is.
Yeah, but I would also assume there are some things that you fully need hands-on hands-on experience, like medical residency, but also he would be working more. They're taking all of those students, and dental and all of that kind of stuff, all of those things that he wouldn't have had to come. He sounds like he's back with you right now and he's going to then have to leave again, right? That's what it sounds like. And so it's hard for me to think of something that is he's not going to get experience and it needs to be hands-on because meaning in January, I would assume if he can't go back, I don't know what job it would be that wouldn't then alter how they do things to then make it possible. Do you know what I mean?
But maybe it's like he can stay doing what he's currently doing, but to do the next step to advance, because she said to get more money, he needs whatever that experience is. And he's not able to get that experience because of COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I think like, again, it's really hard to, like you said, it's really hard to know because we don't know what it is. But like, if he doesn't go back, then what does he do? Like, is it like...
He probably stays in the same position instead of advancing, getting the skills he needs to advance.
But would he need to get a new job? Like, would he have to like, would this have to be like, okay, he put like however long of the time that you've been long distance that he put into this, like, is that all for nothing? Like, is he invested money into it? Is it like, oh, he didn't, like, is it a certain number of hours he needs? And if he doesn't reach those hours, then like, it doesn't apply to anything else. And like, do you know what I mean? It's like it's like going to law school and all of that stuff and then never do you know what I mean? Like people do that all the time, but like the money that you invest, like something that would cost money to invest in it. And then, because then it's like, well, are you going to be able to financially provide in a way? And like, is that, I just personally, I just don't think, with what we know, I don't think it's fair to say like, no, you can't go, because I'm also like, you know, thinking of like in the extremities of being like, okay, well then he doesn't have a job and he has to find a different job and he wasted all of his time doing all of this. And then we're in the middle of a pandemic. And then what? Like, then he's home. Let's say he doesn't even have like, then there's all of his other additional responsibility on you to be able to provide. And then also, if it sounds like work is something that's important to him, then like, where is he going to get that source of like fulfillment and like happy, like how is that going to work long term? Because you've been apart before and it's not an additional year. It's an additional like 4 months. And I think, I just think that like, if it's something though that like, you know, you said it's not a guarantee. So there are some things that like it would be, oh, you know what? Actually, this would also change my advice if it's this. What are they called? Banks? I'm trying to remember exactly. No, I'm just trying to remember exactly. It's like a big job that maybe it is banking. I should ask Monts. A lot of his friends work in banking. But I know this from like people that I know from Northern California, like friends of family friends, all of that stuff, and it's kind of similar to like agencies or whatever, where you work at like fucking minimum wage. Like you're making $28,000 a year, absolutely nothing. You're working all of these crazy long hours and you have to put all of this work in. And then at the end of, once you've clocked these hours or however long the year is, then you get the job to work at like whatever. I think the one I'm thinking of is a bank. And then you immediately go from like $28,000 a year to like 175. Yeah. And then it just keeps growing from there. But you put in all of that work and all of those hours. And essentially it's like hazing. And it's like I think agencies, it's a lot longer, but it would restart if you went to a different bank. And it would restart the same way if you worked at a different agency. Like it would have to kind of restart there. And truthfully, it isn't totally guaranteed that would happen. But like the difference with like the banking program that I know that someone did, it's a time limit. Like it's a specific time. But then something like an agency, that same time comes around every year where people either get promoted or they don't. And it kind of is indefinite. Like it isn't guaranteed that will happen. But I think that regardless of that, I definitely could see myself personally being frustrated with that. But it also has to factor in like your partner's happiness and like, what is this their dream? Like, do you like it, how much, like how, if this is so important to them, which I would assume anyone who does it, like that requires putting in all of those hours and all of that stuff, it's usually because it's like a massive passion. And then if you take that away, not that this is how it, like, I think it should be, but it does kind of like put that response, like now he doesn't have this thing that brings him joy, happiness, and money. And now that's your job. And that's so much pressure to put on yourself. You know, love isn't always enough. It also has to be like life compatibility. guys, we are back from our break and let's get into the rest of our calls.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm 20 years old, going into my sophomore year of college, and I'm a Leo. I'm in a bit of a pickle right now because one of my best friends from high school, who we've reconnected over this past summer, she has dated this past guy who I'm actually still friends with. So I've been kind of juggling these two friendships at the same time. Not to mention they had dated about 2 years ago for about almost a year. And broke up about a year ago. So it's been kind of a really messed up situation because basically I have become interested in this guy. He showed an interest in me, and I had kind of tried to make sure that I didn't have any feelings for him because I didn't want to mess with my friendship with this girl. But he showed an interest, and now we've opened up these weird feelings for each other. And he asked me whether or not I'd be interested in like a friends with benefits kind of a situation. And not knowing really what to do at all, I decided to reach out to my friend and ask her because I'm a really honest person. I'm a really honest communicator. She's a Taurus, by the way. He's a Pisces, if that matters at all. And basically, I just wanted to have open communication with her and talk through it because I didn't want it to hurt our friendship. And so I laid it all out on the line, and she gave me the green light to go. And then she started to kind of flip that story and get a little bit angry at me later, with other friends kind of reaching out and getting a little bit angry. And where it stands now is essentially I have realized I have feelings for this guy and he has feelings for me, but I still don't want to mess up my friendship with this girl. So my consciousness is telling me not to go for it, but my feelings are involved, and so it's making it really hard to kind of decide what to do here. If I should definitely not date him because I don't want to mess with my friendship with her, or if it's really too far at this point and I've already messed with my friendship with her, if I should just explore this because I do have feelings. So any help would be really appreciated. Please. I need to get out of this pickle. Thank you.
Okay, can we just start without even like putting your friend in the situation for a second? Because you said that you have feelings for him, he has feelings for you, but all he wants is friends with benefits. It's already not going to work out because you said you've admitted that you have feelings, and you can't just be friends with benefits at this point. And you're already friends. Like, it's not going to work.
Well, because that specifically, that stuck out to me because that's one of two things. Either he doesn't like you that much. He just likes you as a friend and like wants to fuck.
And wants a bone.
Or it's manipulative as fuck and is being like, well, here's a way that we won't be dating. So then therefore it won't hurt my ex as much. And then I can like essentially eventually convince you to date me from being friends with benefits. It's just, it's just manipulative. If it's that option, this is like, here's the thing. You said that they broke up, they dated for a year. They broke up.
That's a long time.
A long time. And they broke up a year ago. And you said that you stayed friends with both of them. And it was like a thing. Like it was a thing that you stayed friends with both of them. And it was not good. Like it was hard. Like it wasn't, you didn't. So like, it's just the reason why your friend said it was cool. I know I'm always like in the camp of like, listen to what people say and take what they say at face value. But you shouldn't have asked her because what else is she supposed to say?
Yeah, because it's going to start with, yeah, sure, that's fine. But then she thinks about it for a second and she's like, no, actually, it's not fine. Like, well, no, this isn't cool.
And I know if it were me and like, if during their breakup, like if I broke up with someone and like you, like a friend stayed friends with one of my exes, there was definitely conversations about like that wasn't uncomfortable or how like I had to become comfortable with it or like it was a thing. Like there's something there that like it's discussed and it's like, and part of that discussion is a reassurance that like we're just friends, and then having it be like, oh, actually, and it's like, oh, did you console me during my breakup and then stay friends with my ex because you like wanted to date him and like did the whole thing in itself. Like, I know if I had a friend ask me that, I would be so hurt that it wasn't even a question, because you're putting that on her of being like, if you say no, I won't, but like we've already talked about these feelings that we have for each other essentially, and like, but if you're not comfortable, then it makes her be the bad guy, when like, of course the immediate reaction is like, wow, I'm so hurt. Like, sure, that's fine. Like, that's just such an uncomfortable place to put her in. And I think this is so recent of a breakup for a relatively long time that they were dating, especially considering like the age that you guys are, and that it wasn't like, it's not like he's in the friend group with her. It's not like it doesn't sound like she's the one that broke up with him and is like fine with, and it's like, yeah.
But it's not going to work because he doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. He just wants to fuck you. And I think you might have ruined 2 relationships now.
Yeah. There's just, I've said it before, I don't understand, and maybe you guys aren't as close as like was hearing this, but I can't, especially something so recent, like my friends, the people that they date, like even when I was single, like all became, you know, penisless, non-sexual beings. Like, yeah. And I can imagine that betrayal of like feeling, you know, it does bring into question all of that stuff of like, what was everyone's intentions during this relation, like when she was with him. And then also, it brings in like,
were you there like consoling her when they were breaking up and like talking bad about him with her or stuff like that?
But, and also the same way to him though, was she consoling him when they broke up and talking bad about her? Like,
true.
It just opens up like this whole confusing sort of thing, and you can't have everything. Like, there are some times where like it ends the friendship or it ends the relationship. Should we go on to the next one?
Hello, Megan, Melissa, and potential guests. I am needing some advice on how to handle a situation with my fiancé. We've been together for 3 years, and just I guess it's been about 3 weeks now. He's been having symptoms of what I thought was a UTI, but I guess it's not. He went to get tested for an STD and for a UTI or whatever. His results have come back that he doesn't have a UTI. So his other results haven't come back yet, but he's pretty much certain that it's going to be an STD. I have not been with anybody else in 3 years. He swears he hasn't either, and I definitely believe it by the way he is acting towards me, being accusatory that I've done something, telling me that I'm going to take a polygraph test if it comes back positive for an STD. And I've done a lot of research, and I have seen where if you've had an STD before, it could be lying dormant in your body and come back. I did have chlamydia before. My ex-boyfriend gave it to me about 4 years ago, and we went to get treatment, but we never went back to get retested. So is this a possibility that it could have came back, and I could have now infected him? I also had an ectopic pregnancy about 2 years ago, and I, through my research, discovered that if you have pelvic inflammatory disease, or you do have an STD, that could happen. So I'm obviously going to get tested as well and go to the doctor and everything. But as far as reassuring my fiance that I haven't done anything, and, you know, getting through this difficult time, what advice do you have for me? Because I don't want it to take a toll on our relationship. I don't want there to be any trust issues, even though there is now. And I just don't know what to do. I think taking a polygraph test is
crazy and I have anxiety, so I do worry about failing that, even though I'm not guilty and haven't done anything wrong. So I don't know. The only thing I can figure is that I gave it to him. But because he did get tested 2 months after we were together, though, and he was negative for STDs. So how could he have been negative after we slept together and then gotten it 3 years later and be positive? I just don't know. So any advice would be appreciated. Thank you so much.
Okay. First of all, if you get an STD test and you test positive, you should always go get retested. And if you haven't been retested in 3 years, and that's a problem, because like you said, it could be dormant, or it could be where you don't have symptoms and you're just actively giving it to him and he's giving it back and you're asymptomatic. But then on top of that, he doesn't trust you, and he seems like, I'm trying to put myself like in his position. If like I know that I haven't slept with anybody like for a fact, and then I have an STD, then yeah, I would be pointing fingers too. But like I wouldn't be saying like you need to get a polygraph test, because first of all, those are inaccurate as fuck. There's also easy ways to cheat the test. But like
tack in your shoe.
Trust. Huh? What did you say?
A tack in your shoe.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. And like a lot, this is just a mess. Before like you called us, you should have waited for his test results to get back, and you should have been tested as well. But still, the fact that he's sitting here and pointing fingers and being mad about shit, I completely understand. But there were a lot of missteps before you even got there.
Yeah, I'm on Planned Parenthood's website right now to learn a bit more about chlamydia. So it's cured by antibiotics, but you need to get tested again, negative, to make sure that it's gone. And the only way chlamydia would stay in your body after you started treatment was if you didn't take all the prescribed pills. And that's why important, even if the symptoms go away. Both you and your partner needs to be treated for chlamydia before you have sex again, or you could get reinfected, but that was your ex. Oh, maybe.
Yeah. But they could have had sex again before.
That's what I was. Yeah. Okay. So I think, yes, that could totally be possible. I would be curious if you got tested for chlamydia because of your ex-boyfriend, because you had symptoms, or because he did. So like, did you have no symptoms and then get tested? Because then I think it is probably likely that either it didn't go away, because it's saying the only way that it wouldn't have gone away, unless you're going to go onto like, essential oil websites, that it didn't fully go away if you didn't take all of the prescribed, both of you didn't take all the prescribed antibiotics. And, but it's saying if you took all of the antibiotics, it should have gone away. But if you
get
had
tested again.
Yeah. But I mean, if you have an antibiotic resistant, that to me would make, I mean, obviously not a doctor, that would make sense if she had no symptoms. But if you have symptoms and then you take antibiotics and your body is resistant to those antibiotics, it's usually gonna get, from every like antibiotic issue I've had, what did I have? Something in high school, I had an antibiotic resistant, some sort of infection. And it got so much fucking worse. Like, just because like my body was resistant to said antibiotics. So if you had no symptoms then, I think it's totally possible that you could have had no symptoms now. But did you also not get tested again when your boyfriend got tested 2 months into your relationship?
Right. She says she hasn't been tested again.
His response to this, I know that you said his response makes you feel like he didn't cheat on you. His response makes me feel like he cheated on you.
Yeah.
He is gaslighting the absolute shit out of you. Like the absolute, like the polygraph, all of that stuff. Like, that's when people are guilty of something, the biggest way to tell, they tell you what you're doing. And, it's called projecting, as my therapist says. And as she also has said, that it's one of those like things that seems seemingly innocuous, but is like a really massive, massive red flag for, I think she said, I think it's like stunted emotional development, or maybe that's not the official term or something, but someone who is essentially reacting to something like mimicking and mirroring like someone else does. But the projecting of that that's usually like, in cases like this, he's telling you what he did. He's saying you cheated on me, which is him saying I cheated on you.
And then like when you go test positive, if you test positive, then he'll be like, see, I knew it was you, when it could have totally still been him. And then he transferred it to you.
And here's the other part. You are taking on a lot of the assumption that this is you. What if it's herpes? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if it's not even chlamydia at all? And that's like, just the fact that he's flipped this on you so fast of that. When someone calls you out for something that seems like absolutely preposterous, it's because they've done it. Like you're like, why I haven't cheated on you? Like that's like, why would you say that? That's crazy. But like, you would think most commonly a partner gets an STD. They find out first. The other partner accuses them of cheating versus him getting an STD and then immediately turning it on to you before you could accuse. It seems to me like he accused you of cheating before you could accuse him.
So here's my thing. I think you guys need to go to the doctor together, sit down, and have STDs explained to you in detail, because neither one of you are acting in a responsible way. And then after you both get your results, then you probably need to go to couples counseling, because the trust has been broken. Neither of you trust each other. And well, I'm guessing you still trust him, but he sure as hell doesn't trust you. And evaluate if this is a relationship that you need to be in.
Please call us back with an update.
Time for Don't Blame Them. So this is from season 6, episode 14, where the original caller had said that she wants to work in politics, but because of her diagnosis of diabetes, then she needs to have good insurance. So she's studying to be a nurse. And so this is somebody calling with their own advice.
This is in regard to the girl who she currently works in a political office and she is interested in social media. However, she is considering a career in nursing, and I just thought I could relate to this because, I mean, unlike her, I don't have my bachelor's in political science or something in that range, but I did study political science for a year and I was very interested in it. But I just realized my true passion was nursing. And while nursing is a more stable job, everyone just assumes that nursing is just working at the bedside and working in a hospital all day, every day. But that's not true. And if she's looking for really great benefits, and what I think that she can use her other degree in is public health. So public health nurses basically would go out into the community, and especially with her human and family development degree that she got, I think that would really benefit her. And most of the public health departments, they work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and they have state benefits because it's actually a state job. So that would get great insurance. So I just want to encourage her that, you know, although it's not her passion, she can definitely find a way to make it passionate for her. She can also get into policy making, which if you study at the BSN, you will take a policy development class and kind of learn the steps to see if you're interested in that as well. And yeah, that's just my advice, dude. Go for it. If you want to go for it, go for it. If you don't, it's totally fine. Just do what makes you happy. But just know that if you are going to be a nurse, you don't have to be stuck in a hospital all day. All right, that's it. Bye.
I mean, do what makes you happy, but also like insulin.
Yeah. But if she's getting like a government job, then she'd have great insurance.
No, I think that's great. Public health is definitely one of the words I was looking for on that call. Super helpful. Great. Thank you. Loves it.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for this episode. If you guys want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to listen ad-free, check us out over on Stitcher. If you would
Stitcher Premium.
Stitcher Premium. Premium. If you...
Because regular Stitcher, there will be ads.
I mean, you could, if you wanted ad free, that's where you got to go there. Yeah. And leave us a review on iTunes,
Apple Podcast.
I'm always being like, is this the right? No, leave us one on Apple Podcast app. We would love a nice 5-star review. Makes us feel good and great. I almost went James Charles and said fine and fresh. Fine and fresh? What is it?
Don't watch them, so no clue.
See,
Ask
neither do I.
Person.
Our Facebook group is still closed. We are not currently accepting new members. And you have to listen to the ends of the episode to know when we are going to be accepting new members. So, yeah, you're just not going to be allowed in. We'll let you know when you will be. And anything else?
That's it.
That's it, guys. Oh, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, the podcast, but also follow our own individuals. We would be very into if you followed. And we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melisa D. Monts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.